What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. Hope you're all doing very well. This is an exciting one. There's actually some massive changes for Enhancement Shaman this time, for real this time. This is no clickbaiting. There was a huge update this week for Enhancement Shaman on the beta for the War Within, and this is something that we were kind of asking for last week. I mean, we were asking for more than what we even got today, but I promise you what we got, not today, I guess yesterday, but what we got yesterday was very impactful. It's going to make a huge difference to your gameplay as an Enhancement Shaman, and I think it's going to potentially open up some build possibilities. So let's just dive right into the changes. First and foremost, 3 of our talents that were 2-pointers are now 1-pointers, and they're significant. So first of all, we've got Molten Assault. It's the same power level that it was at 2 points, but you just get it for 1 point, which is huge. That's a massive DPS increase, because now you can just put the talent point somewhere else and you get the same level of power. Improved Maelstrom Weapon, same power level as 2 points, but it's a 1-pointer now. And then this is the most significant one. Witch Doctor Ancestry, same power as 2 points, but it only costs 1 point. This frees up an additional point at the bottom of your tree, which really creates some potential build possibilities and really opens the floor for talents like Elemental Assault to shine, which are really good at generating Maelstrom weapon stacks, and that's going to be very, very important. We'll talk about that in a second. So with these 3 changes, you can now spread Flame Shocks a lot more easily with Lava Lash, and I think for almost every build that you're running, including a Storm build, you're probably going to want to run Lava Lash plus Molten Assault. It's just going to be better than taking something like Ice Strike plus Swirling Maelstrom. So for example, this is an Elementalist build, which we'll get to in a second, but let's say you wanted to do a pure Storm build, right? You're going to get rid of Ice Strike, and now you're going to go down here, and then we can grab this, and then we can grab the Thorum's line, and there you go. There's your build. Now, you're at the bottom of the tree here. You could go Alpha Wolf for more physical damage, or you could go Elemental Spirits to try and get a Nature Dog to really buff your nature damage. We now have Spreading Flame Shocks up here, and you could put 2 points right here. This is what you're gaining, basically, okay? You're gaining the ability to now spread Flame Shocks very, very easily, and I think that's going to end up being more damage than just taking Ice Strike, like, because the damage that from your Flame Shocks scales off of nature or fire, because that's the kind of damage they do. Volcanic damage, right? So it's nature and fire. So this is buffed in this, even a Storm build, a pure Storm build. You're going to want to spread those Flame Shocks because they're going to do extra nature damage. If you get a bunch of nature dogs, or if you get fire dogs, you're going to buff them no matter what. So that gives you some flexibility there. And then this is the real killer. You can take 2 points in Ele Assault now, which just is amazing for Maelstrom weapon stack generation. Yes, it gives you Storm Strike damage by 20%, but that's not really relevant. It's more about Storm Strike and Lava Lash having a 100% chance to generate Maelstrom weapon stacks. That is huge in single target, especially. In AoE, your Maelstrom weapon stack generation is basically fine. So that's some build opportunity gets opened up there for the Storm build. For like an Elementalist style build, you can open up extra talents as well. You're going to take your normal Primordial Wave stuff. We'll talk about Primordial Wave in a second. But now you can still take Doomwinds if you want to. You could get rid of this if you wanted to and go more passive. Let's say you want to go Ele Assault in your Elementalist build to guarantee more Maelstrom weapon stacks. You don't really need to do that because you get so many anyway. So let's say you want to go passive, get Flurry and Storm's Wrath. You can do that. Let's say you want to get Doomwinds. You can get Doomwinds inside your Ele Assault, or sorry, your Elementalist style build. Like, there's just more flexibility now because of these talents that have become 1-pointers that used to be 2-pointers. It just opens the door to really allow you to do kind of whatever builds you're looking at doing, getting kind of the buffs that you want to end up getting. Okay, so that's a huge deal. I'll talk about Totemic in a second. The other really massive change that happened is that Doomwinds is now a 1-minute cooldown. It was a 1.5 minutes. It's now a 1-minute cooldown, which I think makes it basically mandatory for any build, especially because, like I just said, you got more flexibility now in what talent points you can take. I think this is probably a mandatory cooldown in every build now. You might as well just take it. It just gives you more damage. Wind Fury damage is good. And then Primordial Wave is a 30-second cooldown. This was a 45-second cooldown. It's now a 30-second cooldown. For for enhancement and Ellie, there's no way to cool down Primordial Wave anymore. They got rid of that mechanic altogether. But now they're just saying, hey, here's a 30-second Primordial Wave. This is insane for your damage output, in Mythic Plus especially, right? You spread your Flame Shocks more easily now with only 1 point in Molten Assault, and then you get that Primordial Wave out, you do that juicy Lightning Bolt, and you get the Maelstrom weapon stacks, you get 10 stacks there, and then you get the haste bonus as well. This really makes the Elementalist build an attractive option, I think, in terms of build possibilities. I think Elementalist actually works really well with the Stormbringer tree. I'm going to show you footage in a second. Yeah, this is just a completely insane change. This completely changes a lot of things. I think you might want to try and include Primordial Wave even in like a Storm build. So imagine for a second that you built a Storm build and it looked like this, and then you can take this, and you might be able to do something like this. Maybe you just don't grab the bonus to the dogs at the bottom, and instead you could get like your Feral Spirit Witch Doctor. You might actually have to drop this as well to get 1 point in Legacy, but you could do like a Storm build now with Primordial Wave and the 10 Maelstrom weapon stacks that it generates. Like, I don't know. Yeah, you're not getting the haste buff, but I think there might be even more build possibilities than what the obvious ones are, and we're going to have to do some exploration there. When it comes to Totemic, I think that we're going to have to wait and see. I have to do more testing. I wasn't able to test every build last night, but we're going to try it. You could probably do an Elementalist build with Totemic, and it would be okay. I still think the best build out there is a physical build. So where you get like Legacy and you're getting Alpha Wolf to make your dogs, you don't have to get it, but you just get your regular dogs, which do physical damage. Alpha Wolf gives you some more splash damage. And then you're ditching this stuff. You go like Fire Nova and get your Flurry and your passive bonuses here, and then you could maybe do like Primordial Wave with this build. You could do it like this way. Actually, no, you can just do it this way. You could do it this way where you have 2 points in Legacy still for the physical damage buff. You have physical dogs. Fire Nova does physical damage. Sundering is physical. Stormstrike is physical. Wind Fury is physical. You're getting all the physical bonuses to buff your Totemic Surging Totem. And you could maybe add in a sprinkle of Primordial Wave to give you a big haste bonus, or you can just double down on the physical side of things and go here and get 2 points in Ellie Assault. Like something like this now. I think you probably want to go Tempest Strikes as well. You could get guaranteed Maelstrom weapon stack generation, because the only real weakness in my mind of the Totemic Surging Totem physical build that I've cooked up here is its single target damage is pretty bad. But I think Doomwinds being a 1 minute cooldown really shores that up, and 2 points in Ellie Assault could shore that up. Or like I said, you could go this direction and get Primordial Wave now and get a big boost of damage, and then just go back into your regular rotation. I don't know. I'm gonna have to experiment with Totemic and see what happens. I don't know. I still don't think Totemic is anywhere near as good as the Storm build is, the Stormbringer build, sorry. It just feels a lot better, I promise you, especially with the buffs that they did recently to Tempest, making Tempest 50% stronger than it was. This is me trying a generic Storm build.
That's cool.
Sorry. A generic Storm build that the only thing I've really added to this build is all the passive components. So 2 points in Elemental Assault, which means we're guaranteed to generate crazy Maelstrom weapon stacks. And the damage is really, really good. I did a whole key here with this crew. The damage is very, very solid. I'll show you another AoE pack right here. These are just small AoE packs into mists, right? But it's just really good. It's consistent. Tempest damage is really high. Your Maelstrom weapon stack generation is crazy if you run this build because of Elemental Assault. You just get back your wolves so quickly. Having a 1 minute Doomwinds, I just, man, it is so fun to have 1 minute Doomwinds. And I think what I wasn't doing before was the Flame Shock tech, and now it's there, and I think that I didn't realize how much damage it actually might end up contributing. Flame Shock ends up being quite a bit of your damage because it does scale off of nature damage, and I think if you ran this build without Alpha Wolf, if you ran with Elemental Dogs instead of Alpha Wolf, you could even further buff your Flame Shock damage, along with, of course, if you get the Nature Wolves, you're not only buffing Flame Shock, you're buffing your, Lightning Bolt and your Tempest and your Chain Lightning. So I think that there are options. There are build options, and that is a really exciting prospect. that I think is going to make Enhancement Shaman really, really fun to play. I feel like these changes that we've seen are going to help solidify Enhancement Shaman as one of the best melees in the game. I still think that Survival Hunter probably does a little bit more damage still. It doesn't have the same kind of utility, but it does a lot of damage. Unholy DK and Frost DK are probably still way up there as well. I've seen some crazy Fury Warriors. Like, there's a lot of really good melees out there. I think they're all actually probably within like 5 to 10% of each other. Like, Windwalker just got a nerf this patch, but I think it's still really good. Honestly, I think most of the melees are within 5 to 10% of each other if you're talking about like an overall damage score. But I think these changes for Enhance, in my mind, they just really make the difference. And they push Enhance into that top percentile. I think it's like probably in the top 5 now, for sure. It might have been just outside of that before, but I think it's definitely there now. And the damage that you're just able to pump out consistently is really, really strong. So this is just my passive Storm build. Let me go to an element. Actually, we'll look at single target. I'll show you single target really quickly on the Mist Caller boss, and you can see the damage for yourself. So here's Mist Caller. We're starting it. We do have Bloodlust here, so we're getting extra damage. And I think we do have an Augvoker in this key. I want to be clear about that. So the damage would be a little bit lower. Maybe subtract 100k or 150k from my total here. The damage would be lower for sure. But man, you just pop off, and it just feels really, really good. And the visuals for Tempest are so good. Like, if you just want to play a spec because it looks cool and feels fun to play, like, this is your spec, guys. It is so much fun to play, I'm telling you right now. And now it actually does so much damage to back it up. These buffs are quite strong for what we're getting here. Yeah, the damage is really good. This is the Storm build. Let me show you the Elementalist build. This is the Elementalist Stormbringer, okay? So again, we have the same hero talent tree, but we are now working with a full Elementalist build. We have Primordial Wave, 30-second Primordial Wave. I also do have Doomwinds. I've kind of worked that into the build. So right away, we're starting off pretty strong here, 1.4 mil. The Warrior goes crazy. Beaver is doing a really good job. I'll try and show you the end of this dungeon because we ended up slapping pretty hard by this entire dungeon. I don't know if we did 1 million overall. We might have done 1 million overall or close to it, I think, by the end. But this pack just melted. The pack just melts here. And again, with the Elementalist build, as a Stormbringer Elementalist, you're actually triggering Tempest like so much. Once again, there's my second Primordial Wave, right? You're going to have Primordial Wave on every single pack. It is crazy the uptime you're going to have on this ability now because it's a 30-second. And the amount of Tempests that you just get so many because you're building and spending Maelstrom weapon stacks so often that you just get an enormous amount of Tempest uptime. I think this is something people don't really understand. Why elementals can actually work so well with this Stormbringer build. You know, it's not the most obvious connection that you're when you first talk about it, but all that Stormbringer requires you to do is to build Maelstrom weapon stacks and spend them. You need to spend 40 Maelstrom weapon stacks before you can cast a Tempest. And the Elemental's playstyle builds and spends those stacks so quickly, and it really results in a lot of damage. So yeah, this build felt really good to me when I was in this dungeon, and I think that it's going to be a serious contender for one of the best builds that you can run now with Enhancement Shaman. And I know some people are not going to like that. I totally understand. I know people have been playing Elementals for a very, very long time. It has a little bit of an added flair now because you do have the Tempest component, which is very fun and very flashy and does a lot of damage and is very rewarding to press. So I don't know. I think that you might just have to get used to running Elementals a little bit. I do think that the pure Storm build can work absolutely fine. I think the damage from it is really high as well. Elementalist might be a little bit ahead of it. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to give you guys some sort of false understanding of what's going on here. I think that this Elementalist build, especially now with these buffs that have come in, might be one of the best builds you can run. It might be a little bit ahead of the Storm, but maybe 5 or 10%. Once again, it's not that far ahead, but it's definitely ahead, I would say. again, I hate this build. I hate it so much. I don't like pressing Frost Shock, but again, we're going to experiment with Totemic on my stream tonight. If you want to see me doing more of these builds, come check it out, twitch.tv/ZukoVibes. We're going to go check out more of these builds, and we're going to see how they kind of all pan out. Let me run to the end of the dungeon really quick and see if I can find my final numbers. Look at our damage. The damage is crazy here. Beaver was having some crazy moments, but everybody here is popping off. Like, I feel like, you know, we're part of the club now, you know? We're in that club where we're just doing really, really crazy damage, and we can really be top of the meters, just like a lot of other people can. So we'll go to the end here. Kill Mr. Eric. Here we go. I think these are the numbers right here. Oh, did I switch? La, la, la. Here we go. So this is what it looks like here. This is an Elementalist style. Again, Tempest ends up being a massive part of your damage. You do have lots of Frost Shock damage from those hailstorms. Lightning Rod's big. Flame Shock is really big, right? This is something that I'm going to have to keep doing on my regular Storm build. That doesn't include Elementals. It's just the deeply rooted build. You still want to be spreading those Flame Shocks. They scale incredibly well. With any bonuses that you get to nature damage or fire damage. They'll scale off of either one of those things, right? But you can see, even doing an Elementalist style, it was like Tempest, Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, and Flame Shock and Lightning Rod. Those are all nature damage. Our nature damage is really high here. And then you have Lava Lash, Frost Shock, Crash Lightning. There's your Ellie Blast. So it looks really good. I'm excited about the opportunities here, about the possibilities here. What was my... Let me just see for a second. I think I have 1 million overall, didn't I? Come on, get this stuff. Get Zuko past Zuko's. There we go. Oh no, we had 750k. So I think before the final boss, I was closer to 1 million overall. So I mean, take it with a grain of salt. I think that it depends on performance. You could probably get 1 million overall. My main point here is to say I think there's a really good chance for some build opportunities here, some possibilities, because we have these talent nodes that used to be 2-pointers that are now 1-pointers. They're freeing up extra talent points for us to take. And then we have better cooldowns now. 1 minute on Doomwinds, 30 seconds on Primordial Wave. You cannot beat this. It is so incredibly good now for Enhancement Shaman. And I think it's completely game-changing. This is a really fun spec to play now. It does a lot of damage. The animations are awesome for Tempest. It feels very good to be an Enhancement Shaman right now. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, what you think about Enhancement Shaman and this update that has come. Are you thinking of potentially playing it now? I'd love to hear anything you have to say down there. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Love y'all. I'll see you in the next one.